Hello everyone, it's Melanie here with Vintage Hill Studio. I'm so excited to bring this idea to you. This is an accordion pumpkin card using old book pages. Oh my word, this was so much fun to do. And this is an oldie but goodie, right? So it's just about folding the paper and cutting the paper, and that's kind of it. So first I'm going to draw out kind of a half of a pumpkin. I've got it curved a little more at the top and a little flatter on the bottom, like you would consider, a regular fat pumpkin. And I'm just using some cardstock because I'm going to kind of use this as a pattern. So the little more substantial cardstock is going to really help me out here. Okay, then I'm going to just take each one of my book pages and fold them in half. And I have to fold them this direction because you can see I'm going to use my pumpkin pattern there, and I'm going to line it up on the fold edge. So I've got my pages all folded in half. Now I'm going to, this is what I'm talking about, line this up on the folded edge. So I've got my little pattern going there. And then I'm going to just trace around that with my pencil, and you can see when I cut this out and open it up, you've got the shape of a pumpkin. So I'm not going to sit here and do all 10 of these pages. I'm just kind of trying to give you the gist of how I did it without having you sit through this whole process. It really doesn't take that long, but it's just repetitive. That's all we've got going here. So there's my little squatty pumpkin. And then I just hand drew a stem, made it a little longer because it's going to tuck back behind the pumpkin once I get this adhered on the inside of my card. So anyway, as I was thinking about making these, I love the full accordion. That's been around for a long time and a lot of decorations, the accordion type details, and it's not that hard to make. So I'm going to bring over some Distress Oxide inks and regular inks here, and I'm just using what I've got, right? And I'm using darker along the bottom and then a little lighter along the top. And I'm going to go over both sides of these pumpkins. I've got them all cut out. You can see I just flip it over. I'm doing light at the top and a little darker along the bottom. And then I decided to go ahead and ink up the very bottom edge as well, because it will show in my card when I'm all done. And then the only time I'm going to use the green is on the stem. So that's kind of it. Here's where I come along and do the bottom as well. Both sides again, and just go through each one of those 10 sheets of your book pages and do the same process, just repetition, repetition, repetition. Now this is very important. When you do your glue stick along your open pumpkins, just go right across the center horizontally. So you can see I have not glued the bottom or the top edge, just went down the center. That's it. I'm going to do that for each one of these layers, and then I'm going to set that under a book and a heavy object and just let them dry for about 15 minutes. That's it. So I'll get them all stacked together and again put them under a book to dry and go around and do something else. So while this is drying, I'm actually going to work on my card front. So you can get a lot of stuff done while you're waiting for that 15 minutes of things to dry. This is what I did. I just used some pattern paper and a few leaves I already had cut out, and I just got the front of my card done. Because the focus this week is about this accordion in the center of our card. Okay, step number 2 for your accordion pumpkin. Glue on the top and the bottom only. Not down the sides, not down the middle this time, just the very top arch and that bottom straight piece. And don't fret about this. This does not have to be perfect. Just get a good amount of glue on there, stack your layers together, one after the other, just like we did when we were gluing down the center in step 1. Do the exact same thing here. Get all your layers done. and then set them under a book and another heavy object for another 15 minutes and go on and work on something else while that's drying. It is very important to let this dry thoroughly, because when you do the accordion function of this, you don't want it to pull apart. So please, please, please just set it aside, let it dry, go do something else, come back to it. Okay, it's been 15 minutes for the second set of layers there. Now I am going to start with my stem, and I've opened up my card as you can see, and I'm going to place that right down the center line because my pumpkin is going to be adhered on the inside of the card, making it a kind of interactive and a surprise and fun feature. So I just open and close this a few times, and then I use my fingernail and also this bone folder to just give me a good line, a good crease. Even if you have to cut it apart and paste it in there, do that. Then let your stem dry. Move on to the next thing. Don't worry and fret too much about this. You just want this to open and close without pulling your stem one way or the other. And since it is kind of narrow, just be a little cognizant of that. Okay, so while my pumpkin layers are still drying, see how much stuff you can get done while things are drying. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment on the inside of my card. And I'm going to kind of gauge where to put this by using my pumpkin pattern. This just gives me an idea of how low I need to put the sentiment. And again, I'm stamping that right on the center line of my open card. So you're not going to have that much room to write in this card, but you can still write a little note below this to whoever you give this card to. You've got plenty of room. And some people actually like not having a lot of room to write, because then they're not under pressure as to what to say. So there we go. I've got my Happy Thanksgiving stamped down there. I'm using my Tonic Studios stamping platform just to get a really good impression. And you want to make sure you get all of this done, of course, before you bring over your accordion element. So now that is all dry, and I'm going to gently open this up, and you're going to see the wonderful accordion effect. Isn't that so cool? I just love it. I love the old book pages, and I love the little inked edges. And this is the best part of the whole card, so let's get this put in. Again, be patient. So I'm using liquid adhesive, a really generous amount of liquid adhesive, just on one side, and I'm going to line that up with the crease in the center of my open card, just like this. Now you can see why I made my stem a little bit longer. It's going to tuck behind that pumpkin, and you won't be able to see the bottom of the stem, but it's just going to add a little more color, and of course every pumpkin needs a stem. So I let that dry. Once that one side was dried thoroughly, very thoroughly, because this is the mechanism inside your card, you need that to really be adhered to one side before you do the other. I'm doing the same thing, adding a little liquid adhesive, closing my card over the front, setting a heavy object on it, and be patient. And that's it. And I love the way this came out, and I hope you enjoyed it too. So I have the step-by-step directions below my YouTube video if you want to see how I did this. I mean, if you need to read up on it or whatever. But isn't that a fun little interactive element on the inside of the card? It was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're new to the channel, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. If you're returning, thank you for coming back to visit me. I hope you get inspired to give this a try yourself. And happy crafting, everyone.